I mean, Chuck, that's when you're pregnant, you tend to lose your mind, so forgive me if it goes out the window. We'll begin now. Not too long ago, folks, people really thought the world was flat. It seemed flat. And I think it came to most people as a huge surprise when some scientists kind of put it together that the world was round. They didn't take this news very well, even though it was the truth. They burned a few of them at the stake, the Messenger. Now we know the world is round for sure. We've seen it from space. We know it. It's deep within us that the world is round. It was true back then, yet they burned people. What I'm about to tell you tonight is just as factually true as the fact that the world is round. But still, most of you are going to leave this room not believing it. Here goes. Giving birth at home with a midwife is safer for both mother and child than giving birth with a doctor at the hospital. There has never been a study done that shows otherwise. Every single study that's ever been done that I can find, that anyone can find, proves this statistically. Yet 99% of American babies are born in hospitals. The world is round, y'all. It really is. Let me give you some stats. In Europe, the five European countries with the lowest infant mortality rates, 50% or more of births are attended by midwives. In the Netherlands, they have a very low infant mortality rate. It's over 70% that are attended by midwives. In Texas, a study was finished in 1996, a 6-year study, that showed that midwife-attended birth has 1/3 the infant mortality rate of physician-attended birth. Believe me, I'm not giving the hospitals a bad rap. I'm so glad you can go there if you need to. But why if you don't need to? Why is this the case? Why is it that if you're born at home, you're more likely to have a better go of it than at the hospital? What I come up with conclusively is that it's because of the intervention rate. There's so many different types of interventions that they do in the hospital, from episiotomy to induction to drugs, epidural, C-section, you name it. The list is very long. You don't get those at home. If you need one, you go to the hospital, and then you become a statistic. But let's talk about cesarean for just a second. Does anyone know if you go to the hospital, if I go to the hospital tomorrow because I need to give birth, what are my chances of having a cesarean section?
95.
No, it's 30. It's one in 3 women will, if you go to the hospital, will be given a cesarean. It is the most commonly performed major surgery in the United States. I could go on and on about that. I don't have enough time to talk about everything I could talk about. I have a 2-hour talk I can give on home birth if you want more. And there's so many reasons to be born at home. But I want to talk about the statistics tonight. And so let's just talk about something that can include all of you. Medical error. There was a study done in the early 2000s. It was the study came out called To Err is Human in 2004. They did a study of Colorado and Utah and a study of New York State. Medical error that ended in fatality. It's something most hospitals don't really like to talk about. It's hard to find statistics about this, but they did a big in-depth study on it. New York's was over half as bad, over twice as bad, excuse me, than Colorado and Utah. So let's just stick with the low numbers. In Colorado and Utah, if you take the number of people that went into hospitals and then ended up dying just because they went to the hospital, and you extrapolate that over the entire United States admissions to the hospital in 1 year, you have more of a chance of dying if you go to the hospital than of being in a motorized vehicle car accident fatality, of dying of breast cancer, or of dying of AIDS. It came in at it would be the 8th leading cause of death in America. So my point is, avoid the hospital unless you're gonna die otherwise. You're probably gonna die if you go. Okay. So why am I telling you all of this? Number one, because I don't want one American couple to make a choice to go to the hospital out of fear of doing it at home. It should be the other way around. How many times in our lives do we get to train for a marathon and run it? How many times do we get to summit Mount Everest? How many times do we get to enter into a darkest hour and emerge victorious into the light? How many times, ladies, do we get to give birth? I think for me it's going to be twice. We'll see. This is the second one. How many times do we get to connect with our mothers with the lineage of our mothers on a primal level? Go on YouTube, watch some home births. I am totally serious. Spread the word. The world is round.